hey, this is 9.5 completing the square. So this is that plus c on both sides. And then we're going to use b over 2 squared. So plus c to both sides and plus b over 2 squared. You have to make sure the first thing to do is to make the x's by themselves. So last time we could do it because there was no bx. Now we have a bx and we have to deal with that. So first off, let's look carefully. Is all the x's on one side while all the other numbers on the other? That's true right now. When I say the other side, I mean the equal sign. So what the first thing I'm going to do, and you need to show your work on this section, is to write x squared minus 16x plus c equals negative 15 plus c. I have to add c to both sides. Now I need to find what c is, and in order to find what c is, I'm going to use b over 2 squared. Now, what is b? B is always the number in front of just x, like x to the 1 power. And that happens to be negative 16. So negative 16 over 2 squared, negative 8 squared equals 64. You want to keep in mind this negative 8 for later. But this is positive 64. So now I'm going to replace both of these c's with 64 over here. X squared minus 16x plus 64 equals negative 15 plus 64. Now, I'm going to do the right side first because that's super easy. Negative 15 plus 64 is going to be 49. That's a very particular number for a reason. Here, though, you have x squared minus 16x plus 64. That's not very convenient, but we can rewrite this by what factors of 64 equals negative 16. Now, if you did the factor tree, or not factor tree, but if you did the chart, what multiplies to c and adds to the b, you're going to get negative 8 and negative 8. Now, you remember how I mentioned a negative 8 is going to be important for later? This negative 8 will always be the solution for these two. And that's going to always be true for the next question and the question after that. So this number right here is always going to be the number that's going to end up being here. So I'm going to rewrite this as x minus 8, x minus 8. And a lot of you guys say you cut right to the end of it and go x minus 8 squared. Because I have two x minus 8s, I could write it as x minus 8 squared. All right, at this point, I have to square root both sides. So square root to get rid of this square right here. X minus 8 equals, the square root of 49 is plus or minus 7. We're not done. Plus 8 plus 8. And I'm going to draw it over here. You have x equals 8 plus or minus 7. You're also okay to write x equals plus or minus 7 plus 8. Now what's really important, guys, is that you need to finish this off. So I'm going to do x, I'll use the bottom one, okay? So 7 plus 8 equals 15. So x equals 15 is one of my answers. And let me just move the camera a little bit. X equals negative 7 plus 8. Negative and positive comes from the plus or minus 7. This is going to be 1. So my other answer is x equals 1. So you don't have to, so literally your final answer is going to be written as x equals 15 and x equals 1. Or you can write x equals 15 comma 1. The next one, there's two things that are happening. First off, our x's are not by itself. So I'm going to do plus 8 plus 8. So I'm going to get 2x squared plus 20x equals 8. My second issue is that I could divide by 2. There's a 2 in front of the x squared, and we're not happy with that. And because we're not happy with that, we're going to do something. I'm going to divide everything, all the terms, by 2. The only reason I did this is because this number 2 is in front of the x squared. I did not have to do it last time because there was no number in front of x squared. Cross out 2. So this is going to be x squared plus 20 divided by 2 is 10x equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. I'm going to do plus my c's, plus my c. So notice my b is not 20 anymore, it's 10 in this case. So make sure you're going to put 10 divided by 2 squared. 5 squared equals 25. Keep in mind that 5. So x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 4 plus 25 is 29. Let's keep going. Now I'm going to factor the left side. So that's going to become x plus 5 squared. If you don't know how to get x plus 5, rewind and look at that one. Equals 29. Square root both sides. This square going to get canceled out. X plus 5 plus or minus square root of 29. Now the square root of 29 is not a clean one, so we just leave it as square root of 29. Minus 5 minus 5. X equals plus or minus the square root of 29 minus 5. Again, you could write also x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 29. Like I said, it's not a clean number, so you can circle it and you are done. Okay, just like the other ones, we have to be wary of a no solution. Not no solution. This one doesn't cause a no solution, actually. That's a shame. Oh, no. Oh, this one's an easy one, though. Let's just do this one real quick. X squared minus 2x plus c equals 3 plus c. It's going to be negative 2 over 2 squared, negative 1 squared equals 1. So x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 3 plus 1 is 4. Just to know this is a 1, so 3 plus 1 is 4. This is going to be x minus 1 squared equals 4. Square root both sides. Cross this out. X minus 1 equals plus or minus 2. Plus 1 plus 1. X equals plus or minus 2 plus 1. I'm sorry, this was off camera. And I got to separate the two separate problems. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then negative 2 plus 1 equals negative 1. So your answers is 3 and negative 1. Okay? I want you guys to try this one yourselves. You're going to divide by 3 on both sides before you do it. I could tell you the answer right now should be, it's going to be 9, that's a 6, no, that's 8. X equals (9) and x equals negative 1. So those are the answers, so check that work, okay? Try it out. Make sure you move negative 27 over here first, like subtract 27 on both sides, and then divide everything by 3 before you go on. Stop this video and do my next video on 9.6.